single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make.
Hi guys, Dr. Tovar here with ChiroMission. We're going to be talking more TIC. I'm really enjoying this series because I'm inviting a lot of our past veterans, as we call it, ChiroMission veterans, that have been on more than one mission trip, and to come in and talk the real TikTok. So I'm very excited, and I'm going to wait until my awesome guest comes in so I can invite her. Hi Alejandro. So if you're there, please say hi, thumbs up, send questions. I'm going to be interviewing Janice Hughes, one of my mentors. I love this lady, and she's been plenty on a few of our mission trips, so she's definitely a veteran woman chiropractic warrior. Oh, there she is. So let me bring her on camera. And I'm going to be adding her in. Hi, Alejandro. There we go. Every time I get one of these successful, I feel very proud of myself because I'm not very technologically savvy. So it looks like we're adding her on, and I can't wait to see her. We're going to be seeing her in Vegas now for Kara Sushi. I'm very excited. I leave tomorrow, even though I hear Vegas is very hot. So if you're already in Vegas, make your comments because, yeah, it's going to be like 110, 112 degrees. So let's see what's happening here. It looks like she's being added. So if you're there, say hi. Hi, Lourdes. And yes, we're going to be talking TIC with one of my favorite ChiroMission veterans. She's been on a few of our mission trips, and I'm sure she's going to tell you a few of the stories, but I remember we needed somebody to drive a stick shift car, and it was the nun's car. And this lady just stood up and said, I'll do it. Even though she was her first time there, she didn't know the roads or anything. So I love her. She is great. And Facebook seems to be still trying to add her. So if anybody has any tips on how we can add her faster, came through. Okay, I'm going to try to invite you again. All right, so yes, you have to be watching. Let me see. Okay, it's still adding. Let's add you again. You have to be watching in order to be added. I love this Facebook bloopers. I call them Facebook bloopers. Okay, let's see. You have to. Okay, Janice. Okay, I'm gonna invite you. Friends to. Oh, I'm inviting you to watch. Uh-oh. Okay. ChiroMission. Okay, so you have to be watching. Let me text her to see if she's watching. You guys are so patient with me. You do know how to drive a stick? Yes, I learned with a stick shift, but I'm here. Okay, Janice, you have to be watching so I can bring you on. Oh, there we go. But I'm trying to bring you on. It doesn't let me. Allow your viewers to request. Did you request? We're going to have to do this again. And she's so awesome because I had a cancellation for today, and she just stepped up. You're inviting me as a watcher. No, I don't want to invite you as a watcher. I want to invite you as and it was sending the invitation, but okay, I'm gonna. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna invite you again. I'm gonna add. Bring Janice Hughes. Okay. It says it's adding, Janice. Let me know if you see it. You have to have your phone in horizontal. If not, it won't be able to add you. So it has to be in horizontal, no vertical. Oh, oh, yay! Every time I get one of these right, I swear, I feel like a child Christmas Day.
I know, it's all the new tech learning, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny because what happens is a lot of times, you or some others are inviting me as a watcher, versus being able to join live. So I'm sitting here, I'm like even typing on the computer, hi, I'm here.
Funny, I invited you to add as I've been doing all this, but it kept saying adding, and it wouldn't do it. So I'm like, why not? But Facebook is tricky, but I'm grateful to Facebook because you're here and I get to see you one day before I really get to see you after a few years. I don't even remember when was the last time I saw you, Janice. It's been a while.
Too long.
Too long for sure. But thank you so much for coming through at this last minute. I told you around 2 p.m. today and you said yes, and that just defines you even further on the kind of person you are. So thank you, because I had a cancellation again this week and somebody stepped up just like Frank did for me last week, also last minute. So thank you so much. So I've been having this series, just so you know, we're catching up now. And we're talking a little bit about chiropractic and certainty in chiropractic and what you think is missing in chiropractic, as well as mission work. And I'm only inviting our veterans for now. This is my first series. It's only people that have been on our mission trips. And I want them to tell me a little bit about the experience. But I didn't introduce you properly, so I want you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a chiropractor. Haven't been in practice now, it seems like far too long. I haven't been in practice for 15 years, but absolutely love chiropractic. I transitioned out of practice, sold my practice to one of my amazing associates who ended up doing far more with it than I could have ever imagined. So for me, that's all about legacy and chiropractic, serving, and she still has a lot of the original patients and families within that practice.
Wow.
I began to coach and speak and teach a lot in the profession. After a number of years of that, I ended up moving on and really sort of into startup mode, really worked with a chiropractor, a really dear friend of mine who has a unique discovery with working with kids with autism. And so she was basically taking the idea from clinical setting into creating a biotech company. And so my role was raising money. And it was actually, while I was already involved with CureMark, that I started coming on my mission trips and connected with you and JC and Todd, and did a number of years of work in the DR, and then also independently did some work in Haiti as well on one of the trips. And so that was really exciting and rewarding. So, biotech sort of startup and my role finished a year ago. And so I'm back here connecting with you and other chiropractors again.
And we love to have you back. We love to have you back. Like I said, I always say about the first time I saw you, I think it must have been 2005, probably. I don't know. It was in the Master Circle, and I just saw you, and I was like, oh, I want to be like her.
Wow, that's exciting.
So it was just so great to have you in our trips. And there's one thing that I know when we do our mission trips is that you see who people truly are when
Absolutely.
You are hot and sweating and thirsty and a bit uncomfortable and don't speak the language and out of your comfort zone. That's when you see people for who they truly are. And I love that. I guess that's why I've been doing this for 10 years, because not only do I get to hang out with my mentors and see that they truly are awesome, and I get to see them express their joy and their light and give it out to others, and we all come as a team and become a family. That's why I consider most of my ChiroMissionary veterans family, because we connected in such a deeper level. And so I love it. And I love how you stepped up every single time, just like you did today when I called you that I didn't have anybody for today. And you stepped up, and remember that time you just took the nun's car, and you said, I can drive a stick, let's go. And we just packed up that car with more people than we can mention here legally.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, actually, maybe we should already censor it and say, like, we won't give names, we won't give details, and we won't give all the things that we did illegally.
no, we won't. I wonder how long do I have to wait to print out a ChiroMission secret book?
Yes,
I think
exactly.
I need to be like completely out, and then I can just go for it. It would be very, very, very awesome. But anyhow, going back to to TIC, you've been back now in chiropractic and seeing how we are in the field and how the new students are coming out, and everybody, chiropractic has changed, right? And what would you say is missing in our chiropractic students now graduating, or the chiropractors now practicing? What would you say is that one thing?
I think it's understanding the bigness of what we do. And, that's where an amazing connection in our conversation about mission trips.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens is a lot of students, as they come out and graduate, let's face it, there's the fear. Many people go into chiropractic more passionate about chiropractic than they come out of chiropractic school. And then it's the fears. In the early startup phase, it's the money, it's the challenges related to sort of startup. And so what starts to happen is those things very quickly overrule an understanding of who we are and why we do what we do. And so I really think it comes back to a deep level understanding of philosophy, working with kids, seeing what chiropractic does with children. So it's I understand, based on the fears and the things that are happening out in the world, or a lot of people challenging, and a lot of new startup docs really at times don't have enough certainty or know really how to communicate about that.
Yeah, we've been talking about certainty and how to get more certainty in chiropractic, because I obviously related back obviously to mission work, because I see how certain doctors become when they get out of the way. It's just they don't know the language, they don't have to do notes, they don't have to have this whole thing. They just become certain that it will work, that if you remove the interference, it will be clear. And no matter in what situation, we can put you into a little home in a town with a person that is bedridden, hasn't moved, and you get this. I see this light in chiropractors when I'm stepping back and I see them just get this certainty that one adjustment is going to bring this person back from a stroke or from whatever it is that they don't even know the full history, and they just get themselves out of the way, and it's just this amazing light that just flashes through them and communicates to this other person in this amazing language of love that I think chiropractic can be resumed too, right? We're expressing full potential.
Absolutely. It is really magical. It's magical to watch. I've been on enough of the trips with you guys to see, say, some of the young practitioners, but I'm also going to say some practitioners that as we build crazy lives, I think sometimes we again forget the magic of what we do, and watching that and really having opportunities to see all the weird, wonderful, and wacky. And really what I mean by that, when you go to a third world country, you are seeing things that you probably are never going to experience in North America or a traditional country in your practice. And to a lot of doctors, I like to give the example that we were in a really, really small town. Again, even, that day had a different interpreter. I didn't have you that really could translate chiropractic. But there was a woman that basically was sort of in a hurried way saying, I need help, please don't leave before I can go and get someone. And the next thing you know, this young boy came running, and he was down the street. He was putting on his clean shirt, probably the only clean shirt that the family has, because it was way too big for him. But basically this woman was dragging, who we find out later is her nephew. And as he was 11 years old, and at 9 years old, he had had a fall and really jarred and had some impact. But just a few months before we were there, he again fell, and he fell and wrenched his elbow and dislocated his elbow. And so seeing a young boy, I really began to understand after, the implications of when someone in a third world country suddenly isn't going to be able to work, isn't going to be able to provide for their family. So it allows you to see or run through what would happen in that child's life really clearly. And very long story short, clinically checked him. Again, it's a risk to try to work on or relocate a dislocation, that is now chronic, that isn't an acute dislocation. And, talk to the family through the interpreter. And I mean, what do we have to lose at that point? And so basically relocated the little boy's elbow. And I've never seen such a level of bravery in a young boy. And after instantly moving his arm, like pivoting it, shifting it, picking up a chair, and really like understanding the implications of how that is going to run through his entire life. Because otherwise, if he can't work, if he can't provide, if he can't be of use, you just start to see the impact that that's going to have. That wasn't even adjusting atlas. That wasn't even adjusting, a vertebra. It's just the power of what we do, or the diagnostic ability that people walk out with, because you do need to, in a very crude way, with a history through an interpreter, because I unfortunately don't speak the language, and literally still allow yourself to diagnose. So the certainty that comes with that is really incredible for chiropractors.
Yeah, and I just feel it's just the connection to our innate, because I feel all the answers are always within. It's just we're not asking the right questions, and we just get so bombarded by the noise, especially in practice. I didn't do my first mission triple till I was 10 years in practice, and I was already, down by the insurance and the staff and the recalls and patients not following through, whatever it is, right, that we get to, we hit in practice. And I had just forgotten that certainty, that magic that happens when chiropractic is not full of noise, because that certainty is there, and it is within every single one of us that graduates chiropractic school. It just gets, we get so clouded that we start letting the fears take over, because the certainty, I feel, is always there. So this is Dr. Tovar. I'm here. I'm the VP of ChiroMission. I'm here with Janice Hughes, Dr. Janice Hughes, and we are talking TIC. So if you're there, please say hi, send us questions. I could read the questions and ask her. And we would love to engage you all in this conversation, because I think it's so primal and so important. And this is one of my mentors, and I know she is full of knowledge and great, amazing information bombs. So please send us questions, likes, hearts, whatever it is. And if you've never been on a mission trip, definitely go to ChiroMission.com. We have our dates for September. I think Haiti is already booked, but we still running the trip in September, and we still have spaces. So we would love to have you. Oh, so any other memorable story that you have from the mission trips when we were, besides all the camaraderie and all the fun times that you had? Because I know we became family, and I know the times besides the serving times were just terrifically amazing. I still can remember that laughter from Martha, but
that is hard to forget.
Yeah, I need to invite Martha on one of these. I'm sure it will be just way too much fun. Probably I won't talk, but it would just be awesome just to hear her talk. So, but any other stories, anything that really impacted you that you can tell our audience that maybe have never been on a mission trip, or have misconceptions about going on a mission trips, or fears, right? Because there goes the same thing we were talking about, that fear that is clouding us from experience that true certainty that is within.
Well, I think an advantage, even though some people might think it's a disadvantage not speaking the language, I think is, when you go in and you can't speak the language, you just do what you do. You're just a chiropractor. And it's multiple situations. Again, ChiroMission, you focus on how can we serve, and that's the whole intent. You're going into sometimes very organized places like schools or hospitals, but sometimes you're going into really unorganized situations. And before you know it, my greatest memories are, being in the middle of nowhere, in a little area, having some lunch, and before you know it, you're now adjusting the staff at the place, and the entire village is coming to be adjusted, and people are offering you anything. So I think because of so much of the work that I do now, talking about money and some of the money blocks, it's interesting because the one memory that I have is I had brought down, my sons had donated and got literally, like, we had 7 full hockey bags filled with clothes and shoes and, some of their stuff, but friends' stuff. And as we had Pastor Joel was helping, to deliver some of those clothes, we were adjusting, and there was a woman that I adjusted, and she came out from her house and basically gave me a bracelet. And it was a little beaded bracelet. And I share the fact that for me, that's just a little beaded bracelet. But for her, that was probably her entire source of income, whether that was for a day, a week. I mean, I will never know that. But what she was doing is, based on the gift that she received, she was offering a gift. People invite you into their homes. I mean, the same thing, walking, another really amazing veteran who I just love dearly based on some of the crazy experiences, walking around some of the streets with, Stephanie Mage, and basically people inviting us into their homes and offering us food, and incredible food, tea and coffee. And, people are so appreciative. And I think that that's really astounding, to a lot of chiropractors. I think we forget in our clinics, people could have had a bad day at work, or, they've got something going on in their life. And a lot of times we're not really just heart connected with them. And on a mission trip, you really feel that. You feel the impact that you're having in people's lives, even though you can't speak the language. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that gratefulness that they have, and how open they are to receive the gift, because they cannot be, just like we do the talk before we send our missionaries into service. You can't give without the person receiving, right? It's so hard to give if the person doesn't receive your gift, and they're just so open to receiving that. That's just is such a beautiful expression of connection, human connection, right? And we're all become pretty the same, pretty equal, even though we come from different countries, different languages and cultures.
Yeah, and it really, the cycle is even bigger than what you described. So if you think about it, service is about giving. And yes, the person is then, needs to be open to receive. But the full cycle is you give, and then energetically things come back to you. And it's so pure because they do just open up. They just say, help me. They don't have other forms of help that so many people in our country do. And so the cycle is so pure, the give to get, the give of your energy, of your time, of your skills, but I watched the impact that my children's clothes and supplies had. And the craziest story for me was that time that I came with 7 hockey bags, because that's really not allowed. Going into Dominican Republic, you're allowed 2 bags. And just showing up at the airport at JetBlue, and I had to fly from Denver to New York and then down to the DR. And I just showed up for a night flight over to New York, and I just walked in and I said, I need your help. And I explained to them, I said, this is what this is about. And I was willing to pay whatever for extra baggage. It cost me nothing. They sent the bags first class, again, breaking all the rules. The pilot, the stewardess knew that I was headed on a mission trip because our flight was delayed. We were likely not going to make my connector in New York. And they held the New York plane. because not only did I need to get on it, they had to figure out how to get the 7 hockey bags on it. And I told that story. I mean, that was still enough years ago, you know, early in social media. And as I talked about it and tagged about JetBlue, and of course, I have no idea this woman's name. I was exhausted, you know, already at that time, like I was flying out at midnight and, you know, but just the number of things, the number of magical things that it took to get 7 hockey bags there. And, you know, again, I didn't know enough. Could I have shipped them ahead of time? Yes. But where? Because you can describe again to listeners, like I would send that stuff to like the port and it would never get to where it's meant to go. You know, so taking it with you is the most viable option. But again, there's a restriction on luggage. But magical things happen to make sure that all 7 of those giant hockey bags, and I'm not talking a little hockey bag, I'm talking like giant hockey bags. And Stephanie just recently posted one of the pictures of me like coming out with like several of them, but people were like dragging hockey bags. But again, like what those things provided was just priceless.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen very often, I will tell you, because I've been doing this for 10 years, and even I have had to pay for bags that I want to take on donations. So that was just the universe conspiring for you to keep giving and receiving. Just
Yes.
like you mentioned, it's definitely the big cycle. A lot of people are fearful to leave their practice, and I always say, you know, when you leave your practice to give, to grow, to expand, you always come back and receive the same back.
Yeah.
It's just how the universe definitely works. So now that we're talking, say hi if you're there. Questions. Hey, Jason, you're there? Jason, send questions for Janice, please. Some people have made some comments, so I want to wave back. We're here, happy to talk to you. So please send questions, likes, whatever you want, and ChiroMission.com has the information. But now that, considering you're now I consider you a very powerful woman in chiropractic, I want us to talk a little bit about being a woman in chiropractic. And how do you see that? I know there's been a lot of talks, and this probably is our year for so many things, but I just want to hear your take on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because my first focus has been coming back to support women in chiropractic. You know, in my career, just so some people that don't know me, you know, I've coached thousands of chiropractors and basically coached, I'm going to say, a higher percentage of men than women. Now, you know, literally, I remember years ago, a couple of people saying to me, you know, how important it was for women to stand up and be mentors or role models. And, you know, when you're running practice and you're juggling kids and you're doing all the things that we do in our lives, you know, part of you goes, well, that's a great idea, but, you know, like, but am I going to do that at 3 o'clock in the morning? Am I going to help some other women at that time? You know, and so for me coming back, I unfortunately feel a little bit like it's been Groundhog Day. It's really kind of the same. It's in the same place. We have astounding women in chiropractic. And all too often, those women and their practices are being measured against some really weird standard. You know, I still remember an amazing woman I coached that, you know, we were on a group, like what was called a pod in those days, you know, where it was basically like a webinar, you know, and we were talking about a different topic, but I could pull up people's statistics in our computer system. And she was really having a lot of lack, you know, I'm less than. And I looked at her stats and I said, wait a minute. I said, you have the best so-called damn, you know, part-time practice I've ever seen. She saw and served more people in 3 days a week while raising incredible daughters, having an amazing family, being very involved in her kids' lives. And yet somehow there was still this measurement to some weird gold standard. And, you know, unfortunately, I'm still seeing a lot of the same thing. And we have incredible women in chiropractic, and Facebook alone has opened up all these really wonderful women's groups. But I'm afraid, because if we don't make some shifts, what's happening is we're kind of doing the same thing again, creating different companies or different programs or different ideas. And I realize that we want the uniqueness. I'm not saying we all need to be the same, but I really feel I'm called to say, how do we rise above that? How do we focus on, again, there being this different playing field for women, and that maybe we have a mastermind. Maybe we pull someone from every one of these great groups and companies and organizations, but I'm afraid that I'm seeing the same thing.
And how do you,
That
how, I think that's a very interesting conversation, and I love where this is going because I want to hear more, obviously, and I could speak all night about this. But what do you think would be the pivotal point, or what is it that we need to? Where should we focus our energy in order to shift this scenario that you're speaking about?
it's not like I have the answers, but for me, coming from biotech, the most incredible thing I experienced with working with women CEOs and women bankers and women investors is that they had a very different energy related to collaboration. It's like they began to open up their doors, their files, their resources, because they understood service. That if they serve, that to help women, to help more women rise higher, it just does good for everyone. And we have so many amazing young women graduating and coming out into the field. Last fall I did a project in Atlanta where I had an opportunity to work with a couple of really new young practitioners. They're incredible. They need us. They need us to again come together, and that's where I'm not pretending or that I have the answer for it. I just recognize some different energy related to collaboration and trust. If we're not careful, so many of the wonderful companies, the amazing coaching companies or management companies, someone has splintered off from one company and they open a different company, and then somebody else opens a different company, and absolutely, is there room for everyone? Completely. But somewhere as women, I've created this new tagline for myself that just says, there is a better way. I don't completely know it. I don't have all the answers. I am the first to say that. But I figure that if I could raise hundreds of millions of dollars for an autism project, and I had no idea what I was doing when I started, that if I just start launching this out, we're going to find a way. There is a better way. And, for me, it's really understanding that women are different. We are unique. And, I really know I'm very clear now on my role. It's a little bit of my age, my age and experience. And in no way am I saying, oh, that's because someone needs to do it just like I did it. That's not what I mean. I think, how do we kind of unveil and help with bravery and courage for more women in the profession? And, I'm describing that I see things over here and they've been over here, and I don't know how or why, but I'm going to go over here. And I really believe that women are ready for us to figure out what this better way is. And, personally, I know as I've really talked about money and mindset, I'm on a mission to help women, many women in chiropractic, become millionaires and multimillionaires. Because at the end of the day, like, you do well, you are financially well and independent, you get up every day and you have more bravery. You get up every day and you're willing to make a change or make a difference.
You have less fear, more freedom.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think this is just very admirable what you're doing. I think we need to talk about it. I think money does matter, and it's a conversation that we have to have. And yes, as women, yes, we can have it all our way, right?
Yeah.
The way that you decide to do it. We don't need to fall into a certain label. We can be moms and great moms and business people, and we can step up and we can be kind to each other and pull each other up. And I do think you're onto something, and I'm going to sit and watch and join and push and do whatever I can to to help get it out there for sure. Hi to everybody. Somebody send you some love over there, and hi Auda. Definitely some people saying hi. So this has been so great, and I know it's the beginning of many conversations I'm going to have with a lot of my past women Chiro missionaries, and I definitely want to start asking more of these questions because I love the conversation, and I think it needs to be had. And if I have some kind of a platform, I'm going to have it. Just because, right? I look so forward to seeing you this weekend at Chiro Sushi. I am so excited, and yes, it's going to be great. Just prepare for some hotness down there because I hear it's going to be hot in Las Vegas. And I look forward to having you again on ChiroMission trip. If you've never been on a ChiroMission trip, check us out at chiromission.com. I'm sure you can message Dr. Janice Hughes for more information on her programs. It's been such a pleasure to have you. You're one of my mentors, and I'm so grateful that I looked up to you as women mentors because we need it. There were very few. Let me tell you. Yeah. So, and I just will see whatever was on stage that was a woman. I'd be like, I want to be like her. So thank you so much for all you have done for chiropractic and chiropractors, and for the programs you do on schools, which is also very admirable. I think we need to get more involved with our students, with schools. We need to get in their heads and change that, that switch. So when we come out, we are more open and more ready to do it without so many fears and lacks, because this, I've been guilty of it too. So I'm not going to say I've been guilty of it, and I know it happens, and everything you spoke about really spoke to me. So thank you so much for being here at such short notice. I look forward to seeing you very, 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 very soon.
See you soon.
Yes, definitely. It's been too long. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Good night.